What's in the channel news today?
Writer, host and Dashcam, Jed Shepherd joins us to talk about one of his favourite movies, Jason Goes to Hell. And not only that, we will be joined by the writer-director of that very film, Adam Marcus. This promises to be a wonderful discussion
About a film that many people are now starting to say is their favourite in the entire series. We dig into why people are getting into it right now.
Okay, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much, everyone who's in the chat already. I see quite a lot of people excited for this one, and none more so than me, because I'm joined by Jed Shepherd, writer of Dashcam. I'm going to give you the big intro, Jed.
Okay.
Dashcam, host, ace producer of the Best Alan Partridge podcast, director of a fantastic documentary about the Blair Witch Project. Jed, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Really happy to be here. It's not often I get asked to talk about Jason Goes to Hell, especially not with the director here. That's cool. Very cool. Nice to meet you, Adam.
Nice meeting you.
Oh, well, it's funny you should say that, Jed, because Jed, Adam, was my first guest on the channel when I started it 3 years ago, and it's gone like that. And I remembered him talking in glowing terms about Jason Goes to Hell, and then I thought, I know what I could do here. This could be something where we put these pieces together and make a wonderful jigsaw. So I'm also joined by Adam Marcus, who is currently, everyone's talking about you at the moment because of this documentary that's coming up, Hearts of Darkness, all about Jason Goes to Hell. Adam, thanks so much for joining us.
Dude, it is my pleasure, and it's my pleasure to be back.
Oh, it's great. I'm going to bounce questions to both of you individually, but feel free to kind of jump in. And obviously, with it being all about your film, Adam, and you know, people's newfound and long-standing love for it, I'm going to start with a question to Jed.
Please
Makes sense. Perfect sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Jed, when did Jason Goes to Hell become one of your favorites of the series? Was it instant, or was it something that grew over time?
It was actually way before I watched it. It was when I was in school. There was just this rumor that appeared in the place. This is when I was real small. This rumor that there was a film where Jason and Freddy were together in a film. And I just couldn't believe it. Even at that young age, I was like, okay, this just sounds like playground talk. But then when I looked into it, I was just like, I found out there was indeed a film where they were both in it. And to me, that's all I wanted in a movie. I wanted a movie with my favorite antagonist, Freddy Krueger, up against another one of the big boys. And here we apparently had it. So when I finally watched it, and I've still got my original VHS of Jason Goes to Hell. As soon as I watched it, by that time I already knew that it wasn't Freddy all the way through it, but it was very meta, and the ending was kind of already spoiled for me. But it was still so incredible when I first watched it. It still just blew my mind that these juggernauts crossed over. So yeah, it blew my mind. And obviously, Freddy Krueger isn't the only kind of nod to horror greats in this film, but it still blew my mind, and it was that moment that just blew the doors wide open for me for film in general. It was just incredible. I didn't think that was allowed to have Freddy and Jason in the same movie.
Hey, I didn't know it was either. That makes two of us.
I have so many questions for you, but we'll get on to that.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have to. Hopefully, we'll bash through everything because I have a feeling Jed's superfan status is going to supersede a lot of my questions. So, Adam, looking back, do you see this as a misunderstood film, or exactly understood but too far ahead, like ahead of its time, ahead of the audience even?
Yeah, it's interesting. The in the new documentary, there's a wonderful interview with one of the executives who work at New Line, a guy named Mark Ordesky, And my two executives, Mark Odesky and Mike DeLuca, have become two of the most powerful guys in Hollywood, which is kind of remarkable. Mark is the guy responsible for all the Lord of the Rings films happening. He's the guy who made that happen. And this guy, he talks so lovingly about Jason Goes to Hell because we were all kids when we made it. We were all really, really stupid and young and just willing to like go for it and do anything. And that's kind of why New Line let me make the movie. Like they were really interested in, they wanted this kind of heavy metal, insane thing. Like they were like, no, we just want you to go for it. Like there were no boundaries put around me, except for legal ones that nobody could do anything about. And I got to tell you, when he talks about the movie, he does say, he says, sometimes you're a little too bold and a little too ahead of your time. And it's kind of what happened to us. The other thing is, there is this misconception. So when Jason Goes to Hell first came out, sure, there were plenty of hardcore, bro dudes who only wanted Jason tearing teenagers up. And I understand those guys because I love those movies. Like I have nothing against any of that. I think it's great. The problem is that it started to get repetitive to the point where Paramount said, we're out. We don't want the movies anymore. And you have to remember, this was a cash cow for Paramount. For Paramount to let go of that series, it is simply that they were starting to get embarrassed that the fans of the series were turning on them. So it's like, okay, if we're going to, it's great to make money, but if we're going to take all this shit from, everybody about these movies that isn't a horror fan, and now the fans are turning on us, oh, get rid of this property. So they sold it to New Line, and New Line said, okay, we're going to go for it. We're going to give a young guy the chance to do this. And look, Sean Cunningham is the reason that I got in the door. He's the reason, he was the one pitching me. But when the movie first came out, remember, there was no internet back then, or there was an internet, but it was ridiculous. That dial up, bing, bing, nonsense whenever you tried to put your computer on. And nobody spoiled the ending. Nobody spoiled that Freddy came out. Like that didn't happen. And Fango was on our set a bunch. Fangoria was like covering this movie. They even had a full magazine of the movie, but we had never let them see the movie. Like we would not let anybody see the film. So even Fango had no idea what that last moment was because we just didn't give it away. Nobody did. And so when the movie came out, for weeks, I went from theater to theater to theater, seeing the movie with different audiences. And I didn't want to watch the movie anymore. I'd seen it way too many times at that point. I just wanted to watch the audience, right? Like that's what I was digging. And I can't tell you the number of standing ovations the movie got. That doesn't happen. Like how many times you see that happen? Where everybody leapt out of their seats cheering that this moment, came to pass. And so, while, yes, there were bro dudes who hated that I made Jason body hop and all that stuff, which I respect. I get it. It's okay. I get it. I've got my whole list of what I ask haters, and it makes their argument pretty shaky pretty quickly. But people were split on the movie. So there was a lot of people who just freaking loved the movie. Here's the thing that happened. The internet happened. And suddenly there was this douche nozzle who, by the way, there's a great story about this guy. There's an amazing story about the douche nozzle. This douche nozzle put up this video that was how New Line destroyed the Friday the 13th franchise.
Right.
And that video went viral. And suddenly that was narrative. And I start getting shit hammered. And I was like, what is happening? Like, when did this happen? And again, I knew it was divisive. Yay. I love divisive. Like, I love that the film is still divisive. Because it's accepted in the zeitgeist. People talk about this movie. You don't see a lot of discussion boards about part 3 or part 7. People just ain't talking about it. But they're talking about Jason Goes to Hell. They're getting into tremendous fights over this movie, which, by the way, is kind of awesome for a filmmaker. Because you want people passionate. I don't care whether you're passionate, love it or hate it, but you want people to have a reaction. That's the only reason to make movies, is to get a reaction from the audience, especially if you're making horror movies, for the love of God. So I did not look. I expected a number of people to be pissed. I didn't expect how many people were going to be pissed, and I sure as shit did not see that wave coming. What's great, however, much like Halloween 3 or any maligned entry of one of these films.
Yeah, what a film.
Right? What ends up happening is the people who love it really love it, and they dig in. They are ticks for that movie, man. They ain't moving.
Yeah.
And suddenly that joy that they find in that movie starts to become contagious. And more people look. Do you know how many fans I have that Jason Goes to Hell was their first Friday film?
Yeah,
it's their first. Yeah. And suddenly they look at Sean's movie from 13 years earlier, and they go, "This is boring. I hate this. Yep. Why aren't there demons and people throwing up shit and like what? Why isn't anybody eating any hearts? Nobody melted in this movie. Why am I watching this?" So it does change. Look, we changed the franchise enough that if your entry point is my film or even Tommy's film, part 6, right? If you come in on part 6, part 9 is the spiritual sister of part 6. Like that's the only movie that I went, okay, I need to adhere to everything Tommy did, which I did.
Right.
Right. So
that's fascinating. Yeah, is that something, Jed, that you kind of admire now as a writer, the risk side of things? Is that something that draws you to this film?
100%, because I think Adam's right. I am actually not the biggest fan of the entire franchise. I think it is very repetitive. Whereas the Nightmare on Elm Street films, they take wild swings. Like every sequel, some of them are not great, but at least they take wild swings. With a lot of the Friday the 13th films, it's just a rinse and repeat, which is why Jason Goes to Hell is completely different. Those swings are the big swings, and I think they all work. It's the most interesting Friday the 13th film out of all of them, I find. It tried to do it I don't know. I'm speaking to the director, so I'm probably preaching to the choir here. But I feel like it did a few things that the others didn't, which is try to explain Jason a little bit more and how he could do these crazy things. Try to install some kind of mythology to course correct, the previous films. And I'm just the biggest fan of Erin Gray as well. I don't think she gets enough love because I'm a big Buck Rogers fan, and absolute mega crush on Erin Gray. So seeing her in this just makes everything like a warm hug as soon as she's on screen. But no, I just love it, and obviously this was way before Scream, and but this feels very meta, and not meta for the sake of it. It feels very clever with it as well. The whole opening sequence is just brilliant. And sometimes when I'm writing something, I think I come up with an idea and I'm like, oh damn, that's from Jason Goes to Hell. But that whole open is so brilliant, so well executed, and even when I rewatched it a couple of days ago, I was just like, oh, man, this feels so fresh, right now. It would work right now. Just so well done. It's just fun as well, which a lot of the other Friday the 13th films aren't, because it's just Jason picking up a camper, throwing them against a tree. This just is different. It's really interesting, and Duke's a really interesting character as well.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yes. Where's the Duke spin-off? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I've been working on it for years. I've been working on it for years with Steven.
Oh, amazing!
That's amazing. That's so interesting because it also he feels like a comic book character. I could see him on the front of a comic, in silhouette. Kind of.
He's our nod. He's our nod to Dean Lorry and I are both Jaws obsessed and have been since we were kids. And so he's our nod to Quint. I mean, that's literally why he says, for that money, I'll get you the mask, the machete, the whole damn thing. I mean, he quotes Quint.
Yeah.
Because what movie isn't better without that character? It's true. I don't understand not having that character. By the way, you know what I love? I love that Obi-Wan Kenobi is Quint.
Mm-hmm.
In structural sense, that's what he is. in the same way that Robert Shaw is. So we were like, we need our Robert Shaw. The other trick, so that you do know the where the impetus comes from, as far as, you know, making not a sequel, but for my money, a whole new franchise with that character. You know, everybody always like, oh, he died at the end. I'm like, no, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, he didn't. He got his back broken. That doesn't murder you. Back broken. He's still there.
He can walk that off. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Just, yeah, still rub tussling. That'll work it out. Rub some dirt in it. But yeah, no. Quentin. Creighton. Creighton is the thing I am most proud about in that movie, from an invention standpoint. It's just, and Stephen Williams is amazing. I mean, he's amazing. What an incredible actor. Honestly, I'd say, and again, this isn't about me, but this is about the cast. You know, getting to Aaron and Billy Greenbush and Stephen Culp and John LeMay. I mean, oh my God, Allison Smith. You know, when I was a kid, she was the one I saw on Broadway in Annie, as Annie. Amazing. You know, like the cast I got. Oh my God, Leslie Jordan. R.I.P. You know, wow. I mean, the cast is insane. It's insane, that cast. And that was, look, for me, the thing that became most repetitive, and I couldn't agree more with you, Jed. The thing that became most repetitive wasn't just that they were murdering teenagers. Like, great, that's most horror films. God bless. I've spent most of my life murdering teenagers. That's literally what I do. But I got to tell you, it's not that. It's that. Okay. I feel like all of these franchises become threadbare for one reason. The first two movies in most of these franchises are terrifying. They're scary movies. The first Friday 13th is just scary. Not so much now, but it was when it came out. Nightmare on Elm Street is nightmare fuel. It is. Like, I don't know anybody who wasn't terrified of that film. Evil Dead 1, terrifying. I mean, Texas Chainsaw is still, to my money, not only one of the scariest movies ever made, but one of the best films ever made. It is purely unique in a way that no other film can touch it, and mostly because they had no money, and the grime on that film, you could smell that movie. It's so raw. Here's the thing: nobody ever sides with the villain. The villain is the problem. So in the first movie, you are terrified of Freddy. You are terrified of Leatherface. We were terrified of Mrs. Voorhees. And then in part 2, you're really terrified of Jason. I think part 2 is so far superior a movie to part 1. It's crazy. Yeah. The acting, the kills, the terror. It, like, for me, everything jumps up in that second movie. And the reason is because you don't know the face of fear yet. You are dealing with a shark in the water. No one ever goes to Jaws and roots for the shark. No one. I mean, by part 4, we're kind of rooting for the shark only because the human characters are so bad. We're like, oh, for God's sakes, eat them already. But by the way, to that end, that's what happens. So by part 2 or 3 of all of these franchises, they go, well, we want to bring the villain back. We want to bring the monster back. Remember, John Carpenter and Sean Cunningham, neither of them wanted to make movies. John didn't want to make movies about Michael Myers. He had no interest. That's why Halloween 3 is the only actual sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween, because he wanted to make movies about Halloween. Sean, who never saw an idea that John Carpenter had that he didn't want to rip off, Sean wanted to make stories of the unluckiest day of the year, right? So you once you've got Jason, well, okay, now we're bringing back the guy. Now, remember, when Sean was told, he was asked to do part 2, right? He was asked, like, come and direct part 2. And Sean said, great, I'd love to. And he wanted to tell another, a different story. And they went, no, we think we should tell the story of that, that Jason guy. And he's like, wait, the kid in the water? The dead kid in the water? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we think that. And Sean went, oh, that's the stupidest shit I ever heard. And he walked away. He literally walked away. And he got paid for all of them and had to consult on all of them. When they brought him the sack for part 2, he was like, what are we making? Elephant Man, the horror movie? What is this? And then they brought the hockey mask, and he was like, oh, I thought the potato sack was stupid. So this guy was not on board for any of this.
No.
But this is what happens. You turn the villain into the hero. And suddenly the teenagers, by what the studio tells you when you're writing these movies, is they go, well, you can't make them too great. You can make the one girl interesting. But everybody else, I don't want people to be sad when they get killed. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
And now it's all about the shark. Well, guess what? That's no longer a horror movie. That's a roller coaster. That's a fun ride, but it's not a horror movie. If you're cheering for the villain, you're missing what a horror movie is. A horror movie is that you're not expecting what's coming next. Friday the 13th is the definition of expecting what comes next. So much so that when I make go ahead. Please.
No, I was just thinking, can you imagine a world where Cropsy becomes Jason? You know, like, I mean, I know there's some overlap there, but like that idea of, you know, the burning 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 Cropsy in space, like, you know, that would be that unthinkable, but it would completely change how you look at that fearsome,
100%.
horrible, scary character.
By the way, just an Easter egg, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if you're fans of The Burning, my uncle Ned is one of the leads. Ned Eisenberg is one of the leads of The Burning. He plays Eddie. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's my uncle Ned. He passed away a couple of years ago, sadly, from cancer. But he's one of those guys that if you've watched any 3 episodes of Law and Order, you've seen Ned. He's in every 3rd episode, but he's had an incredible career. But The Burning was one of his first movies, and in fact, that same year, my uncle Joe Ellison wrote, directed, and produced "Don't Go in the House."
Oh wow!
So horror was I was cursed. Like there was no way I was going into horror. That was just going to happen. So yeah, just a fun Easter egg. So look, I think these franchises suffer from losing their soul to some degree in that they stop being scary. And so for me, with Jason Goes to Hell, which by the way, when people say I retconned the series, no, I didn't. I filled a really dumb hole.
Yes.
That no one ever wants to acknowledge about this series, because I'm sorry, there's a little boy who jumps out of the lake at the end of the movie. I love when people try to retcon that idea. No. That's what happened, right? And it's a dream boy. No, it's the boy. That's him. That's who attacked her. And 2 weeks later, he's gained 160 pounds of body weight. He's learned to drive, because I don't think he walked through town to Alice's house. He learned to read, because the only way you could find out where someone lived was the white pages back then, right? So you had to look through the phone book to find somebody, right? So he grew all this sentience. This kid with the hydrocephalic head from the 1950s who was drowned in the lake. This is the guy who did all these things. And again, 2 weeks earlier, we saw him that way. Then you just keep moving forward. The number of times he gets hacked up. I mean, I'm sorry, Corey Feldman took his head off at the end of it. Like, there's no head left, right? By part 6, he's a zombie. By part 7, he's fighting Carrie. And in part 8, he takes a boat ride to Canada. So for me, I'm like, wait, if you just make one change, which makes all the sense in the world. If Pamela Voorhees was obsessed with bringing her boy back, if her love for her son was so heavy in her chest, that wouldn't she go to the dark arts? Wouldn't she find a Necronomicon? By the way, for Evil Dead fans out there, there's more than one Book of the Dead. Oh my God. They're always like, that book was in the, it's in the Ozark. No, it was not. Stop. Would Pamela find a way to resurrect her son? By the way, if all you say is that, right? Now, cut to this kid waking up in the bottom of Crystal Lake, right? And terrified. And even though he is now a revenant, a deadite, or whatever you want to call him, now that he has been awoken by this spell, this kid is still the brain of a very handy-capable kid. This is not a well child. And he's stuck in the muck and the mire under, 30 years of sediment at the bottom of the lake. And one of the first things he sees his mother lakeside get her head chopped off by this girl. Well, yeah, that would inspire him to float up to the surface, to swim up to the surface and attack her and drag her down. And his hatred and the fact that now he is Hell's assassin. Well, I buy him getting 160 pounds of body weight. By the way, let's not forget, at the beginning of part 2, he has one of the greatest senses of humor in horror history, because he goes into Alice's house. He takes his mom's head, puts it in a refrigerator, and then hides. He hides. And he waits. He waits for her to open the fridge. I'm not going to do it until she sees the head. That's the best part. This is going to be hilarious. So he's like the Johnny Knoxville of horror.
Yeah.
Right? But by the way, if all you do is resurrect him with the Necronomicon, if that's all you do, you fix the entire series problems. All of the continuity, all of that, those problems disappear instantaneously. And suddenly you go, oh, all these movies are possible now. Great. By the way, I never understand. There are a lot of people who get pissed at me when I go like, well, the Necronomicon and the dagger are there for a reason. Like I brought the Evil Dead lore into, that's why I went and talked to Sam and asked him for the fucking Necronomicon. And so when people get pissed at me about that, he's not a Deadite. I'm like, wait, why are you upset about the Evil Dead and Friday the 13th being in the same world? Like everybody wanted Jason versus Freddy versus Ash. Everybody wanted that. That comic book was insane. The studio was working on a deal to make that happen. Who the hell doesn't want to watch Bruce Campbell go up against those two guys? I'm sorry, that's the best wrestling movie ever made. So when people get upset about that, I'm always scratching my head like, what are you protecting? I don't get it. I'm trying to make this work. Look, Jason Goes to Hell is the Rogue One of the Friday the 13th franchise.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a great line. Yeah, that's a great. And so you were saying about undoing the fan or the angry dude bros their arguments and kind of having. I mean, if you were to list the films in order and say that somebody had planned that order and this was going to happen in this one and this was, you would have to be insane to believe that there was a grand plan. But people get very upset in the Marvel universe when a little thing changes here or there or an actor changes. But for fans of horror, we accept anything. Like as long as it's a good movie, as long as we're entertained, as long as it's and sometimes, like you said, the boldest swings are the ones we accept the most. It's frustrating if somebody's like, well, you can't do that. Well, hang on, let's just spread all these movies out on the table and see, could you really accept that this was like some grand plan? Because there often isn't a plan after the first movie.
There was no plan. There was no plan.
We've made money. Oh, great.
I mean, look, Tom McLaughlin and I have been friends for many years, and I adore him. He's an amazing dude. When we've talked about this, he's like, Adam, they just said, come up with a way to make this thing keep going. They didn't tell me what to do. They just said, come up with something. And he's like, and I love Frankenstein. I love like the old Universal horror movies. So it's like, okay, I'll give you a lot of gore and stuff, but really what I want to do is I want to resurrect Jason like Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. And that's what he did. So, I mean, and then it was loose and coming after everybody. And he made his hero, Tommy, kind of a dumbass. And this was the fun for him. He's like, suddenly I got Abbott and Costello going after Jason. I was like, that's fucking brilliant, man. Yeah. So there was no plan. You're 100% right. And when people would look, when they got to part 7, they're like, I don't know, how about he fights Carrie? Who thought that was going to be a thing? Oh, sure, the telekinetic girl is going after Jason. I mean, that is truly something that can only happen when you are throwing shit at a wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah.
And Jason Goes to Hell was on purpose to fix the problem.
Is that something that maybe people have a misconception about? They think that you had so much intervention that it didn't allow you to make the movie you wanted to make, but in fact, it was the exact opposite. It was like,
exact opposite.
How do you fix this?
Look, by the way, you have to remember, Sean Cunningham made part 1 and then part 9. He made none of the intervening movies. So I went to the guy who created the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Like you're talking about, like, okay, so the guy that the beloved creator of part 1 makes part 9 and people are pissed at me. You got the wrong guy, guys. If you're pissed, be pissed at Sean. Sean's the one who wanted the fucking hockey mask out of the movie, not me. I was a hardcore fan, right? Yeah. But the minute he said, get the hockey mask out of the movie, I was like, okay, what does that movie look like? And immediately I started going, all right, well, we got to have something more magical now, because now I gotta do something that keeps this character alive. By the way, he was already magical. By part 4, he's magic. He's no longer human. He's not a zombie. It's all bullshit. He's a magical creature. Mm-hmm. And by the way, to what you said earlier, Jed, the reason why the Nightmare films could take such swings is you're in the dream world. You can do anything you want. Like, those movies that was a wet dream for a director to get one of those movies. You're like, oh, bro, I can be a real filmmaker. And the thing about the Friday movies is you're stuck in this very narrow space. Mm-hmm. When you look at the directors that were created by the Nightmare franchise, they all went on to these huge kind of weird careers with all kinds of different films. The Friday guys, we were all relegated to just making horror movies. It's why I bucked against it. It's why immediately I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing Pumpkinhead 2. I'm not doing, Amityville 97 and Leprechaun Back to the Hood. I'm not doing that. I'm going to make other movies. Like, I want to have a real career. And that, by the way, that includes horror films that are original. I just didn't want to be the guy with a part number after everything. And when you look at, Rennie Harlan and Stephen Hopkins and Chuck Russell, these guys come out of the Nightmare franchise smelling like roses because they could do anything. Mm-hmm. They also had a studio behind them that believed in them. New Line, when I worked for New Line, it was a dream house. Like, you were treated with so much love. When they were doing pre-interviews for Jason Goes to Hell for like Cinefantastique and Fangoria and stuff, my executive, Mike DeLuca, called me the next James Cameron. Wow. That was the kind of support you got. You felt like, okay, these people got my back. They really did. So yes, the Friday films were a much better breeding ground for filmmakers to actually be filmmakers. And I will say, I treated Jason Goes to Hell more like a Nightmare film than a Friday film. I did.
It makes a lot of sense.
I want to go.
That's interesting with what Jed was saying about enjoying that franchise so much. That really ties in, and the difference between from film to film in terms of innovation. I was thinking about yourself, Jed, with Host and Dashcam and fan expectation as well. Do horror fans sometimes say they want innovation, but secretly, do they just want the same Mask and Machete? Do they just want what are they like? Or is it just a case of it's a preference for certain people? I don't know.
I mean, after Host, because that was such like a universally loved movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. But fantastic. That's what people want. That's what people wanted. They just wanted us to do Host again, and we were like, we don't want to do that. Right. So that's why we did Dashcam, which is, when it first released, it was very divisive because, it wasn't Host. It was a horror film that we tried to horrify people. We tried to give you an antagonist who's also the protagonist, and she says and she does awful things, and it puts you in the shoes of somebody who you normally wouldn't, because the horror audience in most cases very left-leaning kind of audience, and I feel like horror films now, they've become way too safe, and for me that's not horror. Horror should
totally agree with you.
It should surprise you. Yeah, it should horrify you. So that's the kind of horror that I want to see, and it should be. You shouldn't. There's a certain level of expectation. Okay, with like a franchise movie, especially, you know, with a Freddy movie, you expect Freddy to, you know, to be in your dreams, and then he gets pulled out of the dreams. You know, you expect the one-liners, but what to me makes a horror film good is when it surprises you as well, and that's what we try to do with Dashcam. But it's funny when you were mentioning, Adam, the speaking to Sam about putting the Necronomicon in, because I've had the same because I know Sam as well, and I was working during lockdown, the same time we were doing host. We were working on a film with Sam, and maybe that film will happen at some point. I don't know if it will, but I will say we very, very, very much tried to get the Necronomicon in the movie, and Sam was umming and ahhing a little bit because the whole movie, and again, because I don't think it will happen, I can say a little bit about it. It was about a heist, but you didn't know what they were trying to get, and it was like towards the end you realize the whole time they were trying to get the Necronomicon, but awesome. we'd never announce it as like anything to do with the Evil Dead universe, anything. But it's a heist movie with all these crazy things happening, and then you realize, oh, they were after the Necronomicon the entire time. Sam was very much into it right at the start, but then he got a little bit of cold feet where he was, I guess, because they were redoing all the Evil Dead movies, and you know, he didn't want it to be a bit of confusion. But I love.
It's a great idea, by the way. It's a really great idea.
Oh, thanks. But that's the kind of movies that I love. I love movies where, you know, it is clever, and it makes the audience have to think a little bit, and it also makes audiences realize that you can do these things. That, there isn't a rule where you can't have this character from this film in this movie. Why not? We can do that. We have the power to do it as filmmakers. We can do whatever we want. We're dream makers. And so I want to see more of that stuff. And, I like one of my early short films did something that you did in Jason Goes to Hell, which is, have the John Carpenter box in it with the address from the thing in it. Like, I know that's been done quite a few times. It was, Creep Show as well, and I did it in something as well. But I love that kind of stuff. And you're not hitting people over the head with it. You're just like, I appreciate this movie that came before, and I'm inspired by it, and like I want to give a little nod to it so other people don't forget that this film exists. But so my question to you is, like, what was the conversation with one, Sam Raimi about having Necronomicon, and two, what was the conversation with New Line, and also did you speak to Wes about the Freddy stuff?
I never had to talk to Wes, but okay, so because I grew up in the Cunningham house, because that's where I was all the time, Wes was called Uncle Wes. So one of the greatest moments of my life and one of the worst moments of my life, I was at NYU. It's crazy. It was my first year at NYU. And everybody kind of knew that I was this horror guy. And they knew, even though I exclusively made comedies at NYU, which pissed everybody off. When I was there, everybody knew, like, oh, this is the guy who's all connected to the business and especially to horror movies and Friday the 13th and whatnot. And so Wes was coming to show we had this freshman colloquium where all of the people in our class would come once a week and watch a movie together, right? And usually a filmmaker would show up to talk to us about that movie. It was an amazing series. Like, it was a nighttime thing, and you got a screening of usually a new film that nobody had seen yet, and then the filmmaker was there to talk to you. It was extraordinary. And we met like incredible people. And one night, Wes was coming in with Shocker, which had not been released yet. So he's showing it to us for the first time. And which, by the way, like, the thing that's so wonderful about Shocker, and really is wonderful, I mean, it's a lesser movie of Wes's, but it is truly him going like, I got this idea about how bad it is that we keep putting this stuff out there, like these monsters, we keep putting them out there, and then people want to imitate them, or it gives people the wrong idea, blah, blah, blah. And so he makes Shocker really just as a precursor to New Nightmare, which I think is a masterpiece. And it's like his audition film for New Nightmare, which is what I love about Shocker. So plus Peter Berg is the lead, which is hilarious. But he brings this thing in, shows it, and then Wes comes out afterwards, and everybody knew, like, or they had thought they knew I had been rumored to know Wes. So there were a lot of people in my class that were like, okay, big guy, let's see if you know Wes, right? And so I'm sitting in the middle of the theater. I'm not trying to be seen. I'm just kind of sitting there. And Wes comes out on the stage, turns and sees me and goes, Adam. And he leaves the stage, walks halfway up the aisle, and hugs me in front of the crowd.
Amazing.
Now, by the way, it was awesome because I got vindicated. Like, it was like, yeah, motherfuckers, of course I know him. But the other thing was this giant red target hit my back at that point. Oh, my God. Oh, just the worst. So suddenly, by the way, Brett Ratner, the scumbag known as Brett Ratner, that motherfucker was in my class.
Oh, wow.
And I can't tell the whole story because of legal reasons, but he almost got thrown out of NYU because of me.
I was going to say he didn't get a hug.
No. He did some shit to me that literally almost got him thrown out of the school.
Wow.
So suddenly, like, I was public enemy number one for a lot of the jackasses in my class. That said, NYU was fucking awesome. But with Wes, I never had to have a conversation about it, only because he was so out of the nightmare business at that point. Like, he was really on to other things. And I was trying to fill my movie with all like the Julia Carpenter box. Like, I kept trying to fill the movie with all these like referential things, right? So I had 100 things, including the Evil Dead stuff, and I'll get to that in a second. So I'm with my roommates, who were Noel Cunningham, Sean's son, who was my assistant editor on the movie, and Dean Laurie, who wrote the movie with me. And the three of us are sitting around. Now, I don't personally do drugs or drink alcohol. I never have. But my roommate sure did. And they were stoned to the bejesus. I mean, like, out of their minds. And so we were all giggling about like what I could put in the movie, right? So we're all just like partying and have a great time. And I went, wait. New Line's the house that Freddie built. They're like, yeah. I said, I think they own those rights entirely. I don't think anybody else has a hand in those rights. Oh shit, I got a great idea for the end of the movie. Because they had just killed Freddie. Freddie's dead had just come out. I was like, ooh, I know what I can do. So I called my two executives. This is the middle of the night. I wake these motherfuckers up and I'm like, hey guys.
I got an idea.
Can I have Freddie's glove and his laugh for the end of the movie? And they're like, why do you want it? And I described the last shot of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
These guys lived in completely different parts of Los Angeles. You could hear them high-fiving over a mile expanse. Okay? I could not have gotten that glove faster.
Wow, nice.
It was crazy. Like, they just threw it at me. Of course, it came in a locked box with an armed security guard. And we broke the glove. We totally fucking broke that glove. But with the mask happened way in pre-production because the glove was something that happened during production. We were literally in the middle of production, and I just rewrote that scene. When we were in pre-production, and this is like 7 months before the movie got made, Bob Kurtzman, the K of K&B Effects, and Howard Berger, who were two of my closest friends. And I love Greg. Greg's awesome, but we're not. I would never go like, that's my buddy, because I pissed him off so much because I kept fucking his budget because I kept adding shit. And Bob's like, sounds great, buddy. So, Bob and Howard would like do anything. And I knew that. So I'm like, awesome. I just keep asking these guys. They just keep adding shit to the movie. So they were shooting Army of Darkness for Sam. And they were out in the desert out here in California. And I said, they said, we're making the movie. I said, ooh, can I go out there with you guys like for a couple days and like just hang and meet Sam and
amazing.
And they were like, yeah, that'd be great. Like, come on out. We'd love it. So I go out and I'm helping with any kind of makeup effects stuff that I can help with because that was part of my training. And while I'm there, they introduced me to Sam. And I had already told Bob, I'm like, listen, I want to get the Necronomicon for the movie. He's like, why? And I tell him my whole thing. And he's like, oh, man, that's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like, you can talk to Sam about that. He's totally cool with stuff like that. So I was like, great. So I meet with Sam. I ask him. And his response is, yeah, buddy. That sounds great. Yeah, buddy.
Exactly.
And he gives me a Necronomicon in a Ziploc bag.
Amazing.
Like, New Line, the studio I was working for, I had an armed security guard in a locked box with the glove with this motherfucker. It like just put it in the bag, hand it to me.
So it was straight from the set of Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh
okay.
yeah. So so that's truly how I got the book, and right from Sam, and with like complete like love and joy. And look, here's the thing, and I'm sure this is probably true for you too. This is Evil Dead, was a movie that, like, when it came out, I lived in Connecticut, in Westport, Connecticut. And I would go into New York every week and see my dad. So I could see stuff in New York. But if I wanted to see stuff with my buddies, they didn't play The Evil Dead in Westport, Connecticut. They were too busy playing Arthur and Tootsie and, movies that were, above board. You had to go to Norwalk or Stamford to see, a good horror movie. And so when Evil Dead came out, I had a friend in New York who got me a bootleg copy on VHS. And which, by the way, is how I got Blair Witch Project. Like 7 months before it came out. This is the best way to watch a horror movie. It was grainy and fucked up. Like, it's a bad videotape. It was bad quality, which only made it better because you're in a basement with all your friends watching this fucked up tape, and you're like, and it's grainy and wrong. And you feel like, it feels like The Ring. Like, we shouldn't be watching this tape. There's evil on this tape. The thing about The Evil Dead, and why I love Sam so much to this day, he taught an entire generation of people, stop waiting for somebody to give you money to go make a movie. Like, cut it out. You want to make a movie, go make a movie. And by hook or by crook. And by the way, this drives me crazy. I lecture at a lot of like film schools and universities around the country. And one of the things that I constantly do, because so few of these kids are making movies, they're not making anything. Yeah. I'm always like, hey guys, if I had this when I was a kid, are you kidding me? I would have been freaking unstoppable. I had an 8mm camera and then a very shitty video camera where you had to carry around the VCR that was attached to shoot with it, okay, to make movies. And I still went and made movies every week. And I look at what people have now and I'm like, okay, there is not, you can write, edit, shoot, and distribute all on a phone.
Exactly, yeah. People just wait for permission.
Not quality. I'm like, fuck off, man.
It's crazy. But people they want some kind of like divine permission.
Yes.
Whereas, like, we made Host was made on iPhones. Host was made on iPhone 11s. And it became a phenomenon. Like, and even when we had a bit of money to make a movie with Dashcam, we made that on iPhones too. That was a Blumhouse movie. We had quite a lot of money for that, and we were just like, nah, it feels better on an iPhone.
Of course. Tangerine won Sundance, and it was shot on an iPhone 5.
Ooh, so good.
I don't know if you guys have seen Milk and Cereal from last year. I thought that was
I have not seen it.
Curry Barker, because a lot of people have talked about Zach Krieger and his, but I think Curry Barker was doing an incredible job with Milk and Cereal. I said it's free on YouTube. Literally, anyone can just go and watch.
It's good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It says the budget was $800. I love it already. I'm already a fan.
Yes.
Man, I loved it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. One of my favorites of last year. So go ahead.
No, Sam did that for an entire generation of filmmakers. So he just, and I told him that, like I told Sam the first day I met him, I'm like, man, you're the reason I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Because there was nobody telling me not to.
Exactly. Yeah. And like Sam is like basically my mentor. Like I go to him for things. I did something for Netflix a couple of years ago. And I said to them, is it okay if I bring Sam on board? And they were like, Sam Raimi. Yeah, is it okay if I bring him on board? I just feel like if I bounce things off him, this film will be better. So, and that's the thing, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to help me like that. But he is just such a nice guy. And he has like the heart of a child as well. He still has that enthusiasm as well. I was just with him a couple of weeks ago because he was in London for the Send Help premiere. And he is... in front of the London premiere, he was doing his intro, and he was still doing little skits. He was doing like Three Stooges skits in front of everyone, where the audience didn't understand it, but I was cracking up for no reason. He was in the middle of answering a question, and he put his tie over his head and was like, "Who turned the lights out?" Like it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And his daughter Emma is a good friend of mine, and she's becoming a filmmaker too. She's in Send Help. She's at the start of Send Help, but she wants to be a director. And she has the best teacher ever. She has her dad to teach her. So hopefully she will make films as amazing as a dad. But I feel like you're right. Sam is so inspirational to most filmmakers, and especially to me, a group of friends going into the woods and making a movie. That's just the dream, not asking for any permission, just going ahead and doing it.
Yeah. So much fun. You see the influence in some shot on VHS films. There's one. It's a really niche one that I watched, Slaughter Day. And it is such a bonkers film. I think the two Hawaiian guys, and they're filming it almost live on a camcorder, and they're in a hut, and there's things coming out of the floor, and they're doing all the practical effects on the fly, and you can literally hear them say cut, and then put in another, and it's like maybe just over an hour, but you can see the influence. You don't even have to be a massive fan of Evil Dead to realize that these people saw that and went, "We've got a video camera."
But
which
by the way,
is an incredible power, isn't it?
I think things as far flung as One Cut of the Dead is Sam inspired.
Yeah,
it's like this idea of DIY filmmaking is look. He also made it legitimate for people to make horror comedies because of Evil Dead 2
to be funny. Yeah,
right. And that's been my bread and butter most of my career, and because truly again because of Sam. I don't even think of it that way, but it's true. Like he opened that door and said we can be fucking ridiculous and scary at the same time. We can do both.
And he's still. I don't know if you've seen Send Help yet.
But, sure, of course.
Yeah, every now and again you think, okay, this is like normal thriller territory, and then Sam does a Sam Raimi move, and he's like, whoa, like the boar, the spoiler, but the boar, like a few the jump scares, the
her throwing up
it's amazing,
amazing. Pure Sam. I have a nod to not to that, but to Sam's sense of humor in that way in my film Secret Santa, which by the way, when you were talking about how things have gotten, look, I am a super lefty, like I just am. I'm that guy, but I fucking hate political correctness. Like I fucking hate it. And I am insanely liberal, and I still go, stop policing what people are talking about. It's how we got in this trouble. It's how we're in the trouble we're in right now. Is by making people feel ashamed for no fucking good reason.
Exactly.
You're totally right. When you both either said explicitly or intimated about the idea of horror films having to be horrific. I was thinking, I haven't seen a film like Witchfinder General for a long while.
Right.
That is a scary film.
Yeah.
Michael Reeves made that film. He was a young man when he made that film in 1968. But I guarantee people watch that film now and go, geez, like that knocks me sick. Like that is a horrific film. It's 1968.
Look, by the way, we're talking about a period of time and a period of filmmaking. Look, the number of times I've heard people say like, well, I don't know if I can watch Blazing Saddles anymore. I'm like, oh, then you don't get it, man. Then you don't get it.
I like Airplane. Yeah.
Right. You couldn't get a more progressive filmmaker than Mel Brooks. Like it doesn't exist. And the point is that it's horrific. The point is that he's using that language to get a response from you. Like the minute you start putting a stopper in that, when it came to this film Secret Santa, I'm sure you both are well acquainted with Alan Jones. And Alan, unbeknownst to me at that time, Alan was one of my biggest champions. I didn't know. He gave Jason Goes to Hell 9 out of 10 skulls in Starburst. So I mean, it was like he was that guy, right? And he knew every movie I made. Like because of Jason Goes to Hell, he knew my romantic comedy, he knew my action movie, like he knew all my stuff. And which I was shocked about. When he saw Secret Santa, he saw it at Sitges. And he called me up and he was like, because that's where we premiered. And he said, he wrote me this lovely letter, like just oh my God, so sweet. Lovely letter from Alan, basically reviewing the movie and then begging me to let him show it at Fright Fest. And I was like, I said, listen, you can have the movie at Fright Fest as long as you print this as your review. And he was like, done, sold. Yeah. So Alan brings me out for Fright Fest Glasgow. And it was the year of the Beast from the East. Mm-hmm. So Alan and I both got stuck in London. We couldn't get to Glasgow. We couldn't actually get to the actual screening. But while that happened, Alan and Fright Fest made a deal with us, with me and my producing partners, to make Secret Santa the first film that Fright Fest would ever release on their own platform, right? Which was amazing. So so this is crazy. So my producing partner Brian, his husband Chris, is one of the lead editors for Gordon Ramsay's American stuff. So he does Hell's Kitchen and Kitchen Nightmares. And all that. So he was working on Hell's Kitchen at the time, and we're stuck in London. We're all just pissed because it's a packed audience. It's sold out, and we can't get to the goddamn screening. And I've got like 9 people from the film all sitting in London not being able to, because it was half an inch of snow. Half an inch of snow. So I was like, how do you not have the infrastructure for half an inch of snow?
Yeah, we don't.
So it's amazing. So we're stuck.
We can't handle snow, no.
We're stuck in London, and Chris says, hey, let me call Gordon and see if I can't get us into steak. Let's go to his restaurant. Like, let's at least do that. And we're like, okie doke, like, let's do that. So we all end up at steak, and Alan's sitting across from us. And the movie plays. Now, here's the thing. I had cut a ridiculous sort of precursor to the movie because we couldn't get there. So I did, but I also knew that Secret Santa playing a horror festival, it's a comedy. It's a horror comedy. So I know that I have to work my audience before they see the movie at a horror festival, because I'm like, if not, they're going to be like, this is a comedy, not a horror movie for the first 35 minutes. Right. And so I recorded this kind of horror comedy intro to the beginning of the movie, where I did, and literally we're doing this the morning of the screening, where I got my wife to shoot me with an iPhone. I put a black t-shirt on a cupboard where we were staying. I got her super tight and close up, and I took her iPhone and had it here so we could hear what was on this phone while I watched the person performing. But I did a kind of reenactment of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You video. And I was singing this to the audience at Glasgow, but I'm lip syncing. So it's Sinead's voice coming out of this face, but in the same tight close up with the tear coming down my eye, the whole thing. And so we send this. So we're starting dinner, and that thing plays, and suddenly the tweets start happening, like this massive amount of tweets. And Alan's all excited. He's like, oh my God, look at this, look at this. They're all excited. And somebody had written like, Adam Marcus and Skeleton Crew just owned Fright Fest and their movie hasn't even started. And I was like, okay, this is nice. Fucking awesome. So an hour and a half later, we're having dessert, and the movie ends. And Alan, he was like a 3-year-old. Like, he was so giddy and excited because these reviews started coming in from everybody at Fright Fest. And the reviews were just lovely and very generous and very sweet. But there was one person who tweeted homophobic, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, race baiting, like went on and on and on. This is the best that Fright Fest can do, really? And Alan shows me this tweet, and I'm like, oh shit, this person didn't get the movie at all. And Alan says, that's our poster, darling.
You got his voice really good as well, man.
We are literally like family now. Like I'm in every Fright Fest now. We premiered Hearts of Darkness at Fright Fest at Glasgow this year.
Nice.
But he's just fucking doll. He's a doll. But that was the poster. We had the quote. We had a 5-star review quote, and then that quote right next to each other.
Nice.
That's like perfect. But again, to your point, like if as a genre, if we're not pushing the envelope and we're not speaking truth to power, but in a voice that they understand, then we are failing.
Mhm.
We're failing our audience.
Yeah. Because preaching isn't fun. Sorry, I was thinking because preaching isn't fun, and being told something, you have to show it.
Absolutely.
And you know, this is the thing, that the subtlety is lost, and so is the art of it. And I think that is something that that maybe frustrates and certainly makes me turn the channel.
Yes, of course it does. You can't sit there and you know, virtue slam stuff and enjoy it at the same time. It's not going to work. And look, Jed, to your point, like, I love what you said about Dashcam, about your hero being, you know, complicated and doing fucked up things. You mean like people?
Exactly. And you know, it's called horror. It isn't called comfy. It's not called relax. It's called horror. You're meant to be horrified. And I always think, you know, again, the very, and I'm, you know, liberal, the very left-leaning horror audience, what's more scary than making you empathize with someone who doesn't think the same way as you?
Absolutely.
You know, that's horror to me. And some people got it, like basically Europe got it, but America specifically was just like, oh, this is a bit close to the bone. This is you know. we are
terrible right now. Like, the number of times, because I've been in Europe a lot this year with the doc, and the number of times I start by talking to an audience just going, listen, I'm sorry. Like, for all of us, I'm just sorry.
Just give it 6 months. Give it 6 months and it'll be us apologizing.
Oh yeah, we're back. We're back on the right track of like fucking writing some of this shit. But oh my god, do we suck? It's not good. It's not good. But to your point, look, I also think there's nothing more liberal than watching somebody you don't agree with and having to like side with them.
Yes.
There's nothing more liberal than that. It's like, no, if we're going to put our money where our mouth is, okay, this is a human being too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And they have their virtues, and they might not be exactly your virtues, but uncomfortable is such a good word. I hate when I'm sitting in a horror movie and I just feel like it's that sort of bubble wrapped PG-13 bullshit. And that they had a whole bunch of standards and practices going, well, can we use that word? Stop, man. By the way, the whole reason that there is the scene in the Voorhees house with the guy strapped naked to the table with the other guy kissing him. The whole reason that's in the movie is to make people uncomfortable and to make the audience go, oh shit. We're in the hands of a maniac. Like, the director here is a lunatic, and we don't know what's coming next. Yeah, and that's a horror movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, you're spot on with that. I was interviewing somebody the other day who's made a film, trauma film called Sweet Meats, Ricky Glaw.
I know Ricky very well, actually.
Oh, he's great.
I've known Ricky for 15 years. He's a really good guy, really good dude.
Oh, that's awesome, because I really enjoyed the film and I really enjoyed talking to him. And one of the things he was saying about the about the kind of whether I put something in or not related to, you know, how shocking or, you know, maybe PC it might be. We kind of came to this consensus and across the water, which was, if Michael Winner would have done it to get his jollies, then it probably doesn't need to go in. But if it's and making the story more interesting, exciting, making people go wow, then it can go in. Like, it's not about the taste and decency of it. It's more about the intention, and you know, and sometimes people misunderstand intentions. That's fine. That's how they take it. That's subjectivity. You know, that's the way it is. Yeah. But I just thought that was really interesting, because I was like, it's, for me, it's always going to come down to, if Michael Winner would do it, then it's probably not going to be.
What would Michael Winner do?
And do the opposite, and then you'll be fine. Yeah.
That's awesome. No, I think we all better be willing to push the envelope, and also to take. Look, if someone takes a shot at me, like I'll put up with that shit. I made Jason Goes to Hell. I'm made of Teflon at this point. For the love of God. But yeah, I don't understand being safe. Safe sucks. One of my favorite films of this last year, and really one of my favorite films of the year, and people forget about it because it came out, I think, in January, was Bring Her Back.
Oh, great movie.
And I went like, these guys are maniacs. Like, I like, you're doing this stuff to kids. By the way, not just kids, but one girl who's, you know, who is handy capable. Like, you're gonna do this? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it's those moments where I'm just like, oh, like, this is real horror. This film is great because, you know, it isn't pandering to, you know, American film journalists, or it's not pandering to the audience either. It's doing exactly what needs to be done to elicit that scare. And the knife moment is, for me, that's an all-timer. Like, in horror, it's like, I was shocked, and nothing could shock me. I was like, oh my God. Brilliant.
The knife, and when he bit into the goddamn counter, I was like, what the hell, man? If any movie gets me to do this, no, wait. Like, in a movie theater, forget about it. And my wife, who, look, she has a great tolerance for stuff, like, she really does, but she also will go, I'm out. That's that. She was like, this movie is amazing.
Wow.
That tells me everything. You know, look at this woman I wrote Texas Chainsaw with, for God's sake. So she's willing to go there. That said, I will not let her watch the Terrifier movies. I jump in front of the screen. I'm like, no. Because look, and again, God bless them, and God bless that those movies are making the money they're making, and honestly giving horror a certain resurgence, which is wonderful. But those are the movies that paint the rest of us.
Yeah, you're right. You are right.
You know, those movies that go, there's no caloric value in this. This is just ripping women to pieces, and for no good reason. And that's fine. Like, God bless, go for it. But it is that stuff that does make life tougher for the rest of us.
What's missing then? What for someone who is like maybe not seen those and maybe hasn't seen yours either, and they were just to say, what's missing from a Terrifier style film that makes it, you know, just a kind of something that is a completely different side to horror than what you provide?
Well, I never put myself up against another filmmaker because I just don't do that. No. But I will say, look, I think that I think story content matters.
100%.
Like, story. Like, what is your story? What's the story? And again, maniac murders young women. Okay, what's the story?
There is no story in Terrifier movies,
right?
There are just it's for me, it's like a moments-based movie. It's just a series of moments stitched together with no story. And, you know, I'm friends with Lauren Levera, who is the reason why the second and the third one works. But without her, you have no empathy for any of the characters.
None.
There is no heart.
Yeah, she's great.
Exactly. But the very interesting thing, and it's great that you're here, Adam, is the fourth one is basically Jason Goes to Hell. I don't know if you know, but it is Art Goes to Hell.
Yeah, I know.
That's the fourth one. So I'm very interested on
me too
how they do it. If they're going to just have, I don't know really what's. All I know is it's Art Goes to Hell.
Right.
So, they're not going to go to space then as well. Then they're not going to go to space then. No?
Actually, I have heard talk of space.
I am I love Leprechaun in Space. I love Jason X. They're just two films that I can watch over and over again. Anytime you've got Guy Steiner from Hello doing his best Doctor Strangelove from Brian Trenchard-Smith, I'm in. Like, I am in. And
Critters 4, Hellraiser,
Hellraiser,
yeah.
Love all those space.
That is my.
And by the way, listen, David is an amazing guy. Like, love him, and I think he's a brilliant actor. And so, like, there's so many things. There's so many parts of all that stuff that I honor, and again, if people love it, fuck yeah, like, awesome, totally behind it. And look, you know, okay, I was not, for a very long time, I was not a Timothée Chalamet fan. Now, again, not because he's not good. He's a very talented actor. There's just certain people that you either like have a kinship with on an entertainment level or you don't, right? Okay. So I go to see Marty Supreme, which is a terrific movie, right? And very complicated, very interesting. And I love the softies, so I'm a giant fan of theirs. But I walked out of that movie and I said, I get it. I get it. Yeah. This guy, look, we have almost no movie stars left. Like none.
Yeah.
This guy got people to see that movie. That movie. That is not an audience pleaser.
Yeah. It's how did that, like I was saying this to someone the other day because I was exactly the same. I had exactly the same experience. I watched it and I was like, it's uncomfortable. It's fast. It's visceral. Every moment is a painting. It looks amazing. The supporting cast, everything about it is wonderful. And I was no one was more surprised that I thought that than me. It's so.
I think it's a masterpiece. I honestly think it's a masterpiece. It's incredible. But I like Uncut Gems as well. But Marty Supreme is better, almost in every way.
Yeah. I just couldn't. I literally ordered the 4K the other day. Sorry, I was just.
No.
I don't do that. Like I don't get that excited. And I was like, this is like Mean Streets or something. This is like
Yes.
So
but that's how they were raised. I mean, that's the filmmaking. Look, have you guys seen Daddy Longlegs?
I haven't. I don't think so. No.
I think it's their first film.
Okay.
And for any kid who grew up in New York City, which I did, at a certain period of time, it is terrifying and an indictment of the way we were raised and the shit that we all went through. It is a crazy experience. That movie is fantastic. I think that it's a Criterion. Actually, it's a Criterion disc.
Nice.
That movie.
Right.
It's spectacular. I highly recommend it. And you see the birth of these guys.
I've got a question about that really because it kind of ties in with the Safdies, and I think both of you can probably speak to this. You know, there was an era where it was like pretty much any way you treated the people around you didn't really matter to a certain degree unless because you were striving to make an amazing film. Whether it was The Exorcist, it doesn't matter. It's going to hurt your back. It's going to hurt you. So you're going to get through back. You're going to, or the way people were directed, spoke to, and things like. And it was all in service of perfection. And I feel like there's a bit of that with the Safdies. Certainly, the reason, maybe this is just speculation, but like. Maybe why they've gone their separate ways in terms of the way one person sees how that pursuit and the other person sees the pursuit slightly different. That's my take on it. I don't know. I'm just a film watcher, but I'm interested in that kind of side of things. Like, have you come up across people who it's a bit like me in education? They'll go, "I'll treat the staff appallingly," and then they'll go, "It was for the kids." Like. I'll treat the crew and the thing. You don't have to name names, by the way. People who just kind of go, it's in service of the art, therefore we're going for perfection here. So I won't take any. I'll just treat people however I want. Right. Is that something you either a philosophy you're aware of, or you've seen, or just you have any thoughts on it? Both of you, really.
There are people who do that, and in horror seems to attract some filmmakers who think that that's what they need to do because they watched a documentary on Kubrick, so they think they all have to be like that. It does happen, but I feel like producers and studios, and they are fully aware that that's the film could tank if a director gets away with too much. So, like just for an isolated contract the other day, there's so much stuff in it about conduct on set, which is just the default now. It's like if you do something, if you mess up on set, or if you're rude to someone on set, that could be you off the film immediately. Like, and they don't have to give you an excuse. They can just do that now because it's built into your contract. So I think it's I think those days are dwindling, but there are filmmakers out there who think in order to get the performance out of their actor, they need to punish them. They need to elicit real fear in order to get what you want. But they're actors that they can act. Trust them that they can do it without you being an absolute arsehole to them. Yeah. And it should be fun. You're making a movie. You're making dreams happen. The whole process should be fun. Like hopefully. So. But Adam, I'm sure you've come across people like this.
Look, I worked for Sean Cunningham to start my fucking career off with. Yes, I worked with people like this. Look, and by the way, Sean is was always a very skilled producer. That was never an issue. He was very generous in that way, but he was a bully every single day that I worked for him. And just a horrible bully, and demeaning and just awful. And that's not to actors. That's to the people who work directly under him, who were making the movie. But look, I think that the tales of filmmakers behaving that way, my immediate response, and by the way, this goes to also these asshats who have been Me Too'd and all the rest of it. My immediate response is fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Because fuck that guy. Because I don't understand. Look, I the name of my autobiography, which I'm working on right now, is Bully Slayer.
Nice.
I fucking hate bullies. Like I hate them to my core. And I've dealt with them my whole fucking life. And by the way, you look at why we're in trouble in our country right now. It's 100% bully culture. It's all it is. Yeah. It's this idea that like, I'm gonna fuck you up somehow. No, you're not. And bullies are always the biggest cowards. They're always the just the first ones to fold. They're just the fucking dumbest, worst people. And they're doing it to mask, tremendous anxiety and feelings of not they have no worth. So all of that is true, and any asshat who does that on set is absolutely that person. If you have to psychologically harm an actor, you're either really not good at your job directing, or you have completely miscast your movie, which means you're not very good at directing.
Yeah.
So look, when you hear Ellen Burstyn talk about that moment with the back, right? Ellen Burstyn is one of the finest actors you could ever meet. Okay, just evidence, right? Just evidence. Alice doesn't live here anymore. 2 years later, you can see exactly how fucking brilliant she is. A resurrection 5 years later. This woman is, she's one of the greatest artists we've ever had. And look, The Exorcist is still the GOAT. So I adore that movie. And by the way, Mike Flanagan, who I love, please reconsider what you're doing, because everyone dies behind The Exorcist. No one gets out alive. So remake it at your own peril, but I'm telling you, it will be nothing but peril. That's all you're going to walk into. You're walking into a buzzsaw. But I love Friedkin. I'm a giant Friedkin fan.
Me too. Yeah.
But fuck that guy. Not okay. It's not okay, man. It's not. By the way, I do love that he never abused Linda Blair. Like, there's never talk. Yeah. He was always super sweet and always super safe with her and all that. But adult actors are they talk about actors as children. And by the way, I don't know whether you guys would know this, but one of the things that I do, even tonight, I'm doing it. I have a theater in the middle of Los Angeles, and I work with actors. I teach actors 3 nights a week, and it is my joy. It is purely my joy. And 90% of my casting comes out of the people that I work with, because I've got a shorthand with them, which is amazing. I mean, it's really
that's great.
Incredible way to work. And these people are brilliant. When they talk about actors as children, there is some truth to that, because to be an actor, you have to have all of your emotions right at the very surface, the way children do, right? It's got to be like alive. And it's why you hire a kid under 11 in a movie, they're always going to give the best fucking performance. It's why adult actors hate working with kid actors, because kid actors are just better at it. because there's nothing in the way of them being imaginative and just living in the moment. That's all they know is the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're dealing with adult actors, you're dealing with people who emotionally have to have that at their fingertips all the time. Well, it's very easy to abuse them then. Like, very easy to abuse them.
Yeah, they're an open wound. Yeah,
big time. And look, you know, I worked with, not this isn't from the directing standpoint, but this is from an actor. I worked with the devil in a movie. I made a movie with Val Kilmer, and every negative, nasty fucking thing you've ever heard, it's all true. Every single word of it. Wow. The man physically assaulted me on day 6 of our shoot.
Jeez.
Kicked me in the nuts and laid me out flat. And because he was so high when he did it, he had no idea what he was doing. He wanted to show me his new Crocs. I kid you not. His plastic fucking shoes. And because I was setting up a shot, and I said, "Hey, Val, hold on 1 second, man. Thanks." And I'm turning to my cinematographer, and suddenly I get a Croc to my tots.
Wow.
And it took me out. It took me the fuck out. And that, and by the way, that's the smallest thing he did. Wow. That's nothing compared to the way he treated the other actors on set. I had one actor who was crying every single day of the shoot because of him.
Wow.
Because she had to work opposite him every time she was working.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a fucking monster. And she wouldn't sleep with him. He was sexually harassing her. She wouldn't sleep with him. And he made her life a nightmare. And the problem is, that's the 600-pound gorilla on set. So you can't get rid of that guy. Like, that guy's there. They're going to get rid of me before they get rid of him.
Exactly. You can't even report him because they'll be like, "Yeah, you can go. We'll get
I'm the writer, and I'm the writer-director of the movie." And they're going to pick him.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, they'll just truck out some numbskull who just turned the camera on. So I've worked with people in a lot of different departments who think that this kind of cruelty is allowed. It's not fucking. I don't look every time I hear another guy, or by the way, woman for that matter, because there are a lot of female directors who've been doing this shit too recently. I hear of someone being sexually harassing or inappropriate with somebody in their cast, and I just go, "Man, what is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Like,
how do you have time to do this?
Yes.
You're making a movie.
Yes.
You're making a movie.
Yeah.
I know
There's
when I'm
no
on a
time
set,
for
all I'm
flirting.
thinking about is film.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
The job is too hard. What kind of downtime do you have? Again, you're not very good at your job if that's what you're spending your time on.
I know this is very, very different, but you can transpose that into the education sector when you're like, I can't believe someone's having an affair with someone else, and I'm thinking, I can't believe someone's got the time to have an affair with somebody else.
It's insane. It's insane. And look, by the way, I think when it comes to education, I think that, especially in this country, I think that the amount of coddling that goes on for kids, I think, is negative. I think that's a mistake. And I also think that parents are way too involved. They are way too up the ass of educators. And look, my mom and my dad never sided once with a teacher against me. Like, they never did it. I'm sorry, they never sided with me against a teacher.
Okay. All right.
They never sided with me. I was like, if I had a problem with a teacher, it was like, work it out, kid.
Yeah. Don't get me started. Don't get me started, because nobody's tuning in for me to do an hour lecture on education.
But I love that you bring it up, because look, let's be honest. For me, and I'm sure for you, Jed, movies raised us.
100%.
Right. So it is all educational. Even look, like the number of like kids I know saw Jason Goes to Hell when they were 9, and I'm like, oh, it's too young, man. It's too fucking young.
I think I was 7 when I.
And there you go. Right. Look, I saw Clockwork Orange when I was about 7. Right. There's like, that is just wrong. Like, that's actually child abuse. But somehow I survived it.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, there is a certain amount of walk it off, kid. Absolutely. But I agree with you. Like, the idea that like a teacher has time to fuck a student, like what are we talking? I just it breaks my mind.
That was my point. That was my point, by the way. I'm not
Yeah, it breaks my brain open. It really does. Like, that's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
But clearly that person has a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a self-control
In the same way
issue
that
for
someone
sure.
who does it on set has a problem. You got a problem. By the way,
Yeah.
I've seen people fall in love on set, right? But if you have a brain in your head, you wait till the movie's over.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shoots are not that long. You will somehow survive. Allow the tension of that to be even more till you get to the end of the thing.
Yeah.
And if it's still somebody you want to be with, great, then go for that. That's awesome. You know, but not while you never put your pen in company ink. Nope.
Yeah,
It's too distracting. And I would even say not even after the film's finished. Well, the principal photography, wait until the film's edited and out in the cinemas and stuff.
Yes.
Like because you just don't want to be distracted. But one thing, just as a quick aside, like I hate this thing that's happening now where films are coming out and they're trying to make the two lead characters, the PR machine is making them feel like they're having affairs with their partner, and like the Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi thing, where that's part of the PR, that they're having affairs on their partners. It makes me sick. Like that's not fun for anyone. That's not fun for their actual partners who have to put up with this. It doesn't matter if it helps the film. It's just like that's real low.
By the way, it's also what ruined. It's what destroyed the star system. It's why we have no movie stars. The worst thing that ever happened to our industry was Bennifer. giant mistake, like giant problem. Because here's the thing: before Bennifer, before TMZ, before that moment, right? You heard from an actor maybe once a year when they did a Barbara Walters interview, which was in depth, interesting in a personal life, but in a way that was classy and well done. And then you waited for them to be on screen because we didn't treat them like they were our neighbors, because they're not our fucking neighbors. They're not. And the minute you let people feel, look, George Clooney, when he was on ER, could not buy a hit in the movie theater. Couldn't do it. Because why are you going to go to a movie and pay for somebody that you get for free every week on ER? Why would you do that? Right. So every time he would try to break through in the movie, it kept failing. It wasn't until he left ER that suddenly people went, oh, I miss him. Oh, I want to be with him. I'll pay to see him. Right. The same thing happens with TMZ. If you're watching these knuckleheads, like Geely was the biggest disaster in Hollywood history. No duh. Because who wanted to go pay to see Bennifer? We saw them every single day. Our television. By the way, that has nothing to do against Ben Affleck, who I think is a great artist and a great director. I'm saying that the culture of studios advertising movies through this kind of tabloid journalism crap, it's not helping the movie. It's not. I'm sure there's some advertising agency that's telling you it's gold. This is gold. It's not gold. It's destroying movies.
Yeah, they're actively promoting the parasocial relationships and as a way to get eyes on the product without thinking of the bigger picture. And I think that, in a lot of ways, that exactly what you're saying, it's insidious. It's insidious. It doesn't mean it's not happening to the point where we struggle to see someone beyond the character that's created for them in a couple or on a gossip site or whatever. And there isn't even really a gossip sites anymore, because everything's a gossip site. Like that's news. That's news now. News is gossip. So it's really interesting.
For me, it's the same with social media. Like if people can access you all the time, it doesn't, like, you're not special anymore. Like, because like, again, I'm going to bring up Sam Raimi again. He isn't on social media. So every time he does an interview, like he did the junkets for Send Help. I've watched all of them because they're so interesting, and he's given all these like nuggets of gold that, if he had social media, we probably have heard these a million times. But I'm hearing stories I've never heard before because he only comes out every few years when he has a movie, and so I love that. And I know not everyone can do it because, like, sometimes you do need to promote your own projects. But I mean, look, I love that.
As directors and writers, we are so little known to the public usually. that it is on us to do stuff. And look, promotion is fine. Look, we all have to do press junkets and the rest of it, which is fine. That said, I don't give a shit what you eat for breakfast. And I don't give a shit who you wake up next to before you eat it. Like, I don't care. And it should be about the art. It should be about what you're trying to say with something. It should be about the promotion, and that's fine. Promotion is fine. It's just there is a seediness to all of this that I think it cheapens everything we do. And none of it should be cheap, man. Look, I mean, I fell in love with Star Wars 3 months before Star Wars came out because of all the press that was done. I remember I'm in third grade bringing a copy of Time magazine with a third grader to my, to school and showing it off to all my friends and going this is going to change the world, So there is promotion that's really positive and really genuine. And look, by the way, the people I think who do social media well are the people who, look, I think standing for something is great. I think being, political in a positive way is great, positive way. But I think social media has to be about the joy of the thing that you do. And if you give people that, and you make people feel good about themselves and about their day and about what they're going to go do and about, yes, your art, but in how it connects to their lives and makes them feel, I think it's really positive. I think it can be an incredible tool. I just think it gets used by all the wrong people for all the wrong shit.
Yeah, totally. Do you know, I've just realized I promised you both I'll keep you no longer for an hour. We're now on an hour and a half, and I really do appreciate it so much. I hope we've got a little bit of time for me to throw some questions from the chat to you guys.
Please.
And feel free to just kind of bounce in with thoughts about everything. Some of them are just comments, just lovely comments. Nice. First one here, some of these we may have addressed, but it's worth repeating. The Horror Cat Dad channel has posed a question for Adam. If the opportunity presented itself after Jason Goes to Hell, do you think it could have segued into Freddy, Jason, and Ash? I know we touched on this earlier on, but is that something you could have seen you doing?
Yeah, I was one of the first people brought in. Dean Laurie and I were the first two people brought in to pitch for Freddy versus Jason. And I had a really good pitch for it. It was really fun. It was really exciting. I had a 3-picture deal at New Line at the time. And then Wes said, I want to make New Nightmare. Right. That was that. So it immediately, that derailed everything. So yeah, that was over almost faster than it started.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you. So go ahead.
Idea for a new Nightmare movie, like, do it, Wes. You got to do your thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Some of the Secret Santa is amazing from that Alucard channel, which is a nice one. And a happy Mardi Gras, happy Pancake Day to those who celebrate, and also happy Mardi Gras to those who celebrate.
Pancake Day, yeah, I forgot about that. Wow.
I have not had any pancakes today, which is bonkers.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I know.
In the UK, it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Whereas you don't have to put beads on people and they give you a pancake. You just go and make some pancakes, and you don't have to flash anyone.
I'm all for both things, pancakes and flashing. It's all really good. By the way, to that person who said that about Secret Santa, thank you for that. And also, it's my favorite. It's my favorite work. It's a movie that I made for less than you could buy a used car for, and to this day, it's still my favorite thing I've ever done because it was 100% me. Like, I'm like, this is what I want to do, and it's all my people, it's all my actors, and they just do incredible work.
Well, that's answered one of my questions as well, which is like, if you were to direct people towards something else that, beyond this film to go and attach themselves to, that's an Adam Marcus joint, something that he's in, and that would be Secret Santa.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I got a new one that we're shooting in a month called How to Survive a Game Night, which is sort of Knives Out meets my sense of humor meets a horror movie, and it's sort of the spiritual cousin to Secret Santa. But no, Secret Santa is, of the work that I've done, it is the thing that is the most representative of my sense of humor and of my sense of horror. And Bob Kurtzman made the movie with me and did all the effects for nothing. Literally came out just to do it. And yeah, no, I mean, truly, none of us got paid. Like, we just didn't take salaries because we were like, no, we want to make stuff. Like, we're tired of waiting around for somebody to give us permission to do something, and would rather just fucking do it. And in what we were talking about Ben Affleck earlier and Matt Damon, you know, they've created a company where everybody's a profit participant from day one.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Secret Santa has been doing for what Skeleton Crew has been doing for a decade. And that's my company, and everybody is part of the project. You put sweat equity in, you get money out. It's your movie too. So yeah, it's Secret Santa is me in a movie. So yeah,
and that's one that I know I'll be watching.
I love it.
I think I'm pretty sure I've seen it. You know,
it's on my watch list now. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it this week.
Make sure it's the 2018 one and that my name is attached, because there's a 2015 one that is not me.
No, I've got
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
I've got it lined up.
Love it.
Right.
Love it.
I'll be watching it. I'll be messaging you later on, Jed. I'll be like,
Awesome.
I'm watching.
Okay.
What are you doing?
Awesome.
What did you think? So these next two are directed at Jed. Is it? Oh no, don't bring that Sam guy on, said no one ever. So obviously, you know, yeah, true.
You would be surprised. Like, it wasn't an immediate, like, this is from Netflix. It wasn't an immediate, yeah, that's Sam Raimi, of course. That, like, yeah, it wasn't immediate, I would say, because I think they just thought he would just take over, but he really didn't. He just, you know, he was just helped. So yeah, I mean, in my mind, if Sam Raimi, if you can get Sam Raimi on a project, even in the smallest capacity, do it. It'll just make whatever you do better.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Another one to your point earlier on about filming on iPhones. This is one I'm not aware of. Unsane was a great film, and it was done on an iPhone. I don't know anything about that film. I don't know.
It's a Soderbergh movie. Really good movie shot on an iPhone 9, I think.
Yeah,
8 or 9. Like, really good. Yeah, and underrated too.
Yep, I agree.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Back to Adam now. With if you would have continued a Jason Goes to Hell storyline, would you have gone the Freddy route or done something different? Well, we kind of touched on that a little bit, but
no, I would definitely stay with Freddy and Jason. I mean, I think that was the obvious next step, simply because we had set them up so cleanly at the end of Jason Goes to Hell. But I would, and Creighton Duke was involved in my sequel idea. So amazing. Yeah. So it was Creighton protecting characters from both franchises. And Freddy and Jason going after those characters, and whoever got them gets to stay here as Hell's assassin. The other one goes back to Hell. So it was this sort of battle royale kind of idea with these two lunatics. And the fun, because it was Kane and Robert, was that the two of them would have to fight each other to stop one another from killing Tommy or Nancy or any of, you know. So it was it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And
I would love to make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I would kill to make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah. I think for me, I love the part 3 and the Dream Warriors aspect. It's kind of, you know, you're just saying about like kind of having those people you're attached to being part of the stakes for the big bads fighting, and I think that really does play into all the things that work really well. You know, there's got to be that story side. There's got to be the human element. It can't just be hack. Yeah, it's so exciting.
You love those kids. Like, you love those kids in that movie, man. That's a good film. Such a good movie.
Yeah. I'm just going to flash up some people who just saying hi and just that they're enjoying it. So My Flock channel, hi Sarah over there, the Bud Files who over in America as well, doing just saying hi. So many. We've got some questions here. There was a question here which I thought was quite interesting about the diner scenes. So I was watching the work print of with some of the extended diner scenes in there, but I guess with like Leslie in there as well. Yeah, there must have been some wild stuff going on in there. Could you expand a little bit on some of the things that people might see in some of the other versions, maybe that go on in the diner?
Sure. I mean, look, the work print cuts of that movie vary, and there's a lot of them. Like, there's a lot of different versions of it. There were more things in the diner in general throughout the movie. Like, the diner had the most material that was cut from it, which kills me because I love those characters.
Mhm.
The battle royale in the diner, the big, my big James Cameron meets John Woo shootout, where suddenly this diner has more guns than an armory. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But that sequence, there's a few extra things. I mean, there's a little bit more gore. There's a little bit more, gunshot wounds and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's pretty much the scene. Like that one is not as much kind of ripping apart from the studio. I will tell you kind of a cool story. So this is pretty cool about that diner scene, and about sort of its origin and why all of that happened. So then, in the middle of the process, I had already been writing the script. The script was done, and Sean had hired me, but New Line had not officially hired me. So I had to go in to speak with Bob Shea in order to officially get my job. And so I did, and Mike DeLuca was there with me, as was Sean. And I sit down in Bob's office, which is amazing because it was nothing but Nightmare on Elm Street everywhere you looked. Like, it was crazy. And I walk into the room, and Bob sits me down and gives me a horror quiz. I kid you not. It was an oral exam of horror movies. And I was like,
oh my word,
okay.
Pressure.
And I was killing my test. I didn't know there would be a test, but okay. And we got to a moment. I have a pretty photographic memory, and so he brought up Alone in the Dark. And I said, oh yeah, no. I said, I particularly love Meg Tilly in that. He goes, no, wrong. I was like, I'm sorry. That was Afraid of the Dark. Forgive me. And in my head, the poster for Alone in the Dark shows up in my head. And I'm reading the credits at the bottom of the poster. And I went, I'm so sorry. That was the first movie you produced for Bob, for Jack Shoulder, right? That was your, and he kind of, I was like, no, it's fantastic. Martin Landau. I mean, it's a shame they didn't give awards for horror movies at that point, because he really deserved an award. So did Donald Pleasance. And suddenly his whole demeanor changed. And he looks at Sean Cunningham, looks at Mike DeLuca, and goes, all right, he doesn't suck. Wait outside. So I go outside with Mike DeLuca, like literally, like he's like my babysitter. And we're standing out there, and I was like, oh God, did I fuck that up? Is that okay? He goes, Mike's like, no, that was fucking great. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. So Sean comes out about 5 minutes later. He says, okay, you're allowed to do a screen test. They're going to let you shoot a scene. So Bob wants to see a scene, and then you can get the job. And I was like, okay, great. So I had chosen the scene that I wanted to shoot. By the way, by this point, I already crewed the entire movie. So I'm doing a director's test that literally the entire crew, including Bill Dill, my cinematographer, is shooting for me. Okay, which is insane. Like, I had I had a 50-person crew on a screen test. So so the night before I'm supposed to shoot my director's test, Bob Kurtzman and Howard Berger call me up. They say, hey, you love John Woo, right? I was like, what are you fucking kidding? Now, by the way, John Woo at that point, American audiences didn't know John Woo at all. Yeah. He had not made Hard Target. He hadn't come to the States. And, but I was that guy who, like, I had seen every single thing John Woo had ever shot. And I was a stupid John Woo fan, as were the boys. So the guys are like, look, he's going to show his new movie that's going to premiere in America.
Hard Boiled.
Hard Boiled. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he says, because they're trying to make this movie with him, Hard Target, with Van Damme, and he wants us to do the effects in the movie. So he's asking us to come to the screening at Orion. So he's like, so do you want to come with us? I was like, yeah. They're like, we know you have to shoot in the morning. I'm like, I don't care if I have a shoot in the morning. What are you kidding me? So I go to see Hard Boiled. By the way, there's only about 15 people in this entire theater. Like it was like a tiny amount of people. And the guys call me up to sit with them. And next thing I know, the person sitting next to me is John Woo.
Wow.
No way.
So I'm sitting next to John Woo and Bob Kurtzman here, and I'm like, is this my life? Like, what happened? I'm 22 at the I just turned 23. So I'm 23 at the time. I'm sitting between these two guys, and the movie plays. So I'm watching Hard Boiled next to John Woo. All right.
That's crazy.
And I'm losing my fucking mind because it's Hard Boiled. Like, how do you not lose your mind at that movie? And even though I'd seen all of his movies up until then, I'd never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
So we're watching the film. Crazy. The film ends. I turn to John Woo and I tell him how much I love the movie, but how huge a fan I am. And he says to me, in his very broken English at that point, he just says, I'm learning.
I love that attitude. I love it.
And I just went like, man, if like this guy who is truly a master of what he does is still saying he's learning, like talk about a teaching moment for a young filmmaker, right?
Yeah. Every day's a school day.
So here's the story. This is not crazy yet. This is nothing. This is what happens. I get in my car to go home. Now, at the time, I drove a Chrysler LeBaron convertible because it was the only convertible car you could own that wasn't considered a sports car, so my insurance wouldn't go up. And I literally had no money for food because I worked for Sean Cunningham, so I had to have that car. So I'm driving through town with the top down. So the top down, music is blaring, wind in my hair. I'm going to shoot my director's test in the morning, and I just left John Woo from a screening of Hard Boiled. Like, life is perfect. Mm-hmm. Until I get to this intersection where suddenly I'm stopped. There's sirens and whatnot, and we're all stopped. I'm at the front of the intersection. And a brown sedan pulls in front of me, goes down the wrong direction, literally going the wrong direction on the road, going away from me. And all of these motorcycle cops fly by. Then a bunch of, cruisers come by. Then there are helicopters in the sky. I'm like, what is happening? After a few moments, that same brown sedan starts driving back towards me with all the cops coming at us. I am literally in a convertible stuck at this spot, and the brown sedan is coming right at me. Jeez. A cop car comes in, sideswipes that car. That car misses my car, goes up on a median and slams into a tree right next to me. Literally, I'm looking at the guy in his car who slammed against the tree. The guy has a crack pipe in his mouth.
Oh,
okay. Barely phased that he has just crashed into a tree. Okay. He turns and looks at me. He then pulls a gun up out of the car towards my face. Oh, I'm like, what the? Suddenly, I feel a hand grab the back of my head, shove me down below my steering column. And then I see my door is swung open and two cops grab me. They pull me out of the car through the passenger side, run me across the street, and throw me under a police van. As I turn to look back, there are 4 cops standing in and on my car with shotguns and guns pulled at this guy in the sedan. Okay? No shots get fired. They take this guy away. They get him. They take him away. All good. Oh, they pull me out from under the van. They're like, sir, we're so sorry. You okay? They're checking. Do you need an ambulance? I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm literally like, I don't know what the hell is going on. My hair is all I'm like, what the fuck? They put me back in my car. They're like, you need an escort. You need us drive. You're like, oh, no, I'm okay. I got a director's test in the morning. I got to go. I get in the car. I drive. I start driving home. And I'm like, my life turned into a John Woo movie.
I was just going to say, were there any doves involved in this?
Right?
Yeah. I was expecting the guy pulled 2 guns.
I'm driving home, but I'm so freaked out. And I definitely don't want to drive to my roommates because they're idiots. And so I stop at a house on the way home, which is my unit production manager, Debbie Cass. And I get out of the car, and as I'm walking up her little walkway, She runs out of the house, seeing me, throws her arms around me, goes, "Oh my God, are you okay?" It was like, wait, how do you know? That just happened. She goes, "You've been on the television for 30 minutes.
Wow.
The helicopters were all shooting the thing that was happening as it was happening," right?
That's crazy.
Okay. The next morning, I shoot my director's test, which is the scene of the two idiots at the side of the police car when they draw their guns on each other. Yeah, that whole thing was improv. That whole thing was me kind of coming up with stuff at the moment. That's what ended up becoming the script. But the whole drawing the guns on each other and everything, that was literally from the night before, between John Woo and that moment. That's literally how that scene was born. And immediately I was like, we're changing the diner scene.
It's right what you know. Literally right what you know. Even if nobody believe it.
It was crazy.
Incredible.
It was crazy. By the way, just for the doves thing, I did ask Sean if I could get a bird to fly into the diner. He would not allow it. He's like, "Fuck you. We're not doing livestock."
It's like, we spoke to John Woo, and he was like, "No one can use doves."
By the way, Sean had no idea it was a John Woo thing. I was like, "I just got to have a dove fly through this thing." He's like, "What are you, insane? I'm not getting you a bird."
You're like a big fan of it's like, what is he, a big fan of Noah? Like,
please, the dog at the end, of the movie was Sean's daughter's dog, was Jessica Cunningham's dog. That's the only way I was allowed to have the dog. Otherwise, I couldn't have that dog in the movie. There's no way. He wouldn't let me have a trained animal. Never. He wouldn't pay for that. I just had hot dogs. We put hot dogs under the mask. That's how we got the dog to do that. That's all it is. Wow. Hot dog under the mask.
Nice.
That'll work. Yeah, for food. Anything for food. Yeah, I'm just like a dog in that sense, really.
Aren't we all, honestly?
It's like, what food? Yeah, I'm in. Yeah. That is well, I don't know where to go from that, because that story was insane. But just a huge thank you to both of you for joining us. I feel like we should reconvene and watch Secret Santa.
Anytime.
That would be so cool. Because I'm really looking forward to seeing it now. It's on my list. I know Jed said it's on his list as well. It's currently on Amazon Prime and streaming on Plex, I've seen. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be up for watching that, and I'm sure I'd love to chat to you guys further. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface on some of these things. Before we leave, just a big thank you to everyone who's been in the chat right from the beginning. You know, for the last coming up to 2 hours now. Guy Pearson, who I know you know, Jed, is a massive supporter of this channel in visual effects, and people should check out his IMDb. He's got a list of
me loads. I call Guy when something's gone wrong with the VFX on a film. I'm like, Guy, can you just come in and fix this, please? And he always says yes. So
it's amazing. That's amazing.
Oh, that's great. Just lots of people saying, that they've been watching all the way through. A great conversation, and it's something I've been thinking about all day, because obviously it's quite a long time in between work, and I was like, I just hope everything flows nicely, because I know that this film means a lot to you, Jed. Obviously, it means a massive amount to you, Adam. But I would say even more. But to many people who will be watching this and buying the documentary, and it's just lovely. It's a bit like, I feel like it's a bit like with the John Carpenter effect, where people say, "Oh, I wish you'd told me at the time." That they enjoyed the thing. Right. It's everybody's favorite movie now. And I just hope that you kind of get that love and appreciation from all the people that have been messaging in and things like that. And I can honestly say, for me, like, Host is always been like a 10 out of 10
Dude,
movie.
I'm a big fan of your work, Jed. Seriously.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Big
and,
fan.
And I was going to say, I love Texas Chainsaw, like your 2013 one. Incredible stuff.
My wife will love that. So it's nice. It's nice. Oh, by the way, just so that I can't, because otherwise they're going to kill me. Over at Synapse.
Because of course I meant to say that.
Well, and by the way, because the movie is available where you guys are, like, you can actually pre-order it for your territory. It's a zero region, so it's made so that it can be shown all over the world. But it really is like they've done an unbelievable job. Like the just the artwork by Mark Schoenbach is already
it's beautiful, so isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is the joke on the back. That is a hot dog shoved through a donut in hell.
Amazing.
But I got to tell you, the other thing that is really freaking cool with this, because it's, look, in this age, I am so behind physical media in such a huge way. I mean, in this house that I'm in right now, there's 17,000 movies. I walk the walk. Like, I feel people need to get paid for their work. And so I buy everything. Like, that's what I do. I own your movies, Jed.
Thank you so much.
Fuck yes, I do. But the thing is, like, once you slip this sucker off, beyond the fact that it's a reversible cover and all that cool shit, and it's a double disc set, which is fucking awesome. What we did was, the guys, Michael Felsher, who directed the movie, and is the guy who runs Red Shirt for Synapse. He asked me, because he knows I do a lot of fine art as well, and he asked me if I would do portraits for the release.
Nice.
And so I did 6 portraits that each one has a story on the back that is not in the documentary.
Wow.
So, there's a, of course, there's a Creighton Duke card because
amazing.
I had to do my portrait of Stephen. But we've got a Leslie Jordan tribute.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice.
So there's 6 of these portraits. They're all originals that I did, and then stories that I wrote in the back of them. So there is like there was a certain amount of love put into this thing that really shines through in the release. So I'm incredibly proud of this release. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is a documentary I didn't even want to make. And now I'm like so thrilled that I did, and so in love with what we've come up with and what Michael created, which is extraordinary. So yeah. So they would kill me if I didn't plug it.
I will be buying that Blu-ray for sure.
Me too. And if Jed doesn't buy one for me, I'll be buying one for myself. So just buy 2. It's easy to just click 2 rather than
I love it.
Oh, by the way, wonderful Robert Duvall artwork today on social media.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good.
Yeah.
For somebody who can't draw anything, that is just out of this world. So
it is. If I get the news early enough when someone passes, I try to spend part of my day thinking about them and drawing them. It just makes them feel a little bit closer to me and to my love of that person. And Duvall is. We just keep losing really incredible people. Like, really, it was not a year ago we lost Hackman. It's like we're just losing these, James Earl Jones the years before. We're just, When I was shooting Secret Santa, we were on set when Alan Rickman died, and I'm telling you, like, that was a hard day to shoot.
Yeah,
hard day to shoot.
Trudy Madly Deeply is one of the most underrated.
It's so brilliant
of all time. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
It's a brilliant movie.
It's so good. I've genuinely looked into trying to do a not exactly a remake, but a kind of something inspired by it. But you can never beat the original and Alan Rickman and Juliet Stevenson.
I always feel it was a missed opportunity. He would have been an amazing Peter Cook in a Peter Cook biopic.
Oh yeah,
he would have done. He was possibly the only person I could think of who.
Brilliant,
real good shout, shout.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen Bottle Shock, Bottle Shock is amazing, and it's a very little scene film. It's him. It's Chris Pine, I think, in his first movie, and and Dennis Farina does an incredible job, and Bill Pullman is one of the leads. It's a fantastic movie.
Okay.
And it's based on a true story, and Rickman is off the scales good. Just freaking incredible. Just incredible.
Oh, okay. That was interesting. That's
a cool movie.
That's another one going
really
on the list.
Really good.
So I guess it all goes back to what people like Gareth over at Video Tasties said here, which is, everybody who went to those video shops and rented them, they're all buying this documentary now, which is a really sweet way for us to kind of top and tail this this interview or this discussion. It's just been so nice to think of that, because there is a lot of people out there where that was the best feeling in the world, like you said. And I think maybe both of you said at different points, like watching different ones in a series, it sometimes depended on what was available. So, like for example, I watched Rocky 2 first because it was there, and then I watched 4 and 3 and 1, and then that was the fun of it. That was the excitement. So there's definitely lots and lots of people who have gone like, this was their Jason film. This was their, and that's incredible. It's such a nice way of keeping that vibe going. So yeah, I wish you, Adam, all the success in the world with the documentary. I'm sure I've already heard great things from people who have seen it. And Jed, is there something that's coming up that you want to point people out? I know you've been doing loads actually. I was looking on your IMDb earlier, and you're
I guess the most recent thing was kind of besides all the short films and things I produce, the Blair Witch documentary that did really well. I'm doing some more Blair Witch stuff in the next couple of weeks. Can't say too much about it. But what I can say is, and I've said it on other podcasts before, me and Ed Sanchez, who wrote and directed Blair Witch Project, we are trying to get a Blair Witch TV show off the ground, and I feel like, we're trying real hard. We've got some real cool people who are potentially going to be involved in it. But the rights are with Blumhouse and Atomic Monster at the moment, and I think they're going to do a film first, and depending on how that does, maybe we'll get the opportunity to make the TV show. But the TV show idea is so good, so I hope we get to make that. But in the meantime, I'm doing some Blair Witch content for Lionsgate, which hopefully will come out later on this year.
Love it.
Oh, fantastic. Good. Awesome. His sensibility and your sensibility, I'm really excited because I actually spoke to him once in person, and all we talked about was comedy. And like how much he was just like, all I want to do is make like a really broad, and he started telling me all about the comedy stuff, and I was like, oh, okay.
I want to make. I also want to make like a rom-com. Like one of my favorite films is When Harry Met Sally. I would love to make a movie as perfect as When Harry Met Sally. It's like so good. And I am a die-hard horror fan, but I watched When Harry Met Sally, and I'm just like, this film's perfect. Yep. I obviously, like, horror is my thing, and I always want to do horror, but I do want to test the waters and see if I even can do other genres.
Go for it, man. Go
exactly. For it. But the most immediate, like, I'm directing some feature films. There's 2 lined up, both with very established production companies. One's a big American one, not too far away from something like Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and the other one's like an English folk horror. So people will see a lot of me this year, I think.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
It's awesome.
But yeah,
it's awesome.
Tons of exciting.
That's awesome. I kind of want your romantic comedy to be like the next Harold and Maude.
Oh yeah! Oh hell yeah! It would have to be strange, and like Sam Raimi does when he tries to do something that isn't horror, I won't be able to help throwing in a few horror beats into anything I do.
Of course. No, the film I did right after Jason Goes to Hell was a rom-com, and we were a huge Sundance hit, and it totally fucking changed my life and my career. Do it, man! Fucking do it!
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Right. Well, I think everything that could be said has been said for this iteration of this interview, and who knows, we'll be back in part 10. No, where we go, we're going to meet in space surely for the next one.
Absolutely,
I'm up for it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, gentlemen, and thank you everybody in the chat and everyone who's watching now and in the future. And if you can both stay there for a moment, so I can say thank you before I go to bed. And I will. I'll say good night to everybody. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you.